The Table with Chris Bell, brought to you on AI Radio with former member of Congress and statesman Chris Bell.
Hi, I'm Chris Bell. Thank you for joining us here at the table so that we can continue our conversation. And if you want to weigh in, please write me at chrisbellquestions@gmail.com. Very pleased to be broadcasting today from the University of Texas at Austin, the Communications Building, where I spent a lot of time from 1978 to 1982 getting my degree in journalism. So it's great to be back. I want to share a quote with you that I saw on Facebook the other day. It's been making the rounds. It's from Martha Gellhorn, who is an author and journalist and an American novelist. And she wrote, "People often say with pride, I'm not interested in politics. They might as well say I'm not interested in my standard of living, my health, my job, my rights, my freedoms, my future, or any future. If we mean to keep any control over our world and lives, we must be interested in politics." And she is so right. That is something that I have preached for a long time, mainly because when I was first running for office, a supporter and the host of a gathering for me called me over after I'd spoken and said, "That was fine, but remember, you have to remind these people what a member of city council does so they'll have more interest in this election. A lot of people forget that their streets are paved, that their water is clean, that their garbage is being picked up on time, and that their public library has decent hours, all because of decisions that are made by elected officials. That's the result of politics." And it was great advice because oftentimes people do take things for granted. And Martha Gellhorn is exactly right. If you want to maintain any type of control over it, you have to be involved. She talks about the standard of living. Well, if a city, if a state are going to continue to move forward economically, that's all driven by the elected leadership. Another reason it's very important to find out where politicians stand on those types of issues. Where are they when it comes to business and promoting business or standing for a more modern city, something that I tried to always do, both as a member of city council and as a member of Congress. Those decisions are incredibly important as to who is going to choose to come to your city or come to your state. And that is always going to have an impact on the overall standard of living. When you talk about health and healthcare, you can't leave out the impact of government and politics. We've been having a debate for years and years about access to healthcare, and that will all be driven, or mostly driven, by the public sector. When I was in Congress, MD Anderson Cancer Center was in my district. They received somewhere between $150 to $200 million a year in federal grants and funding. So, of course, it was an extraordinarily important issue, and it was incredibly important that we made sure that money would keep coming in for research and other activities there at one of the #1 cancer centers in the world. Something I always stressed in public office was looking toward the future, trying to make sure that we were a modern city and we're going to be keeping up. And if you don't do that, then fewer businesses are going to want to move to Houston or any city that really hasn't kept up. If we hadn't been able to draw new industry into the city, obviously it would have been completely dependent on oil and gas instead of a very vibrant technology sector that now exists. There's probably nothing more important than your rights and your freedoms. And many of you will recall that during the pandemic, there was a huge debate about rights and freedoms. And some people felt that those rights and freedoms should be heavily restricted, and some disagreed strongly with that approach. But if you don't participate in politics, if you claim to have no interest in politics, then you really don't have any right to complain, because you didn't have any say-so in who the leaders would be that would be making those decisions regarding your rights and your freedoms. So obviously that's extraordinarily important. And when you're talking about the future, in my opinion, we're really talking about education, because that is the key that unlocks the future for so many young people. And if we don't continue to be serious about reforming education and lifting young people up, then we're going to miss the boat, and we're going to fall very, very far behind. And I really do agree with her when she says, if we mean to keep any control over our world and lives, we must be interested in politics. And most people are very concerned about their future and the future for their kids and their grandkids. And the only way to really influence that while you're here on Earth is by engaging in politics. It may be something as simple as making sure you always go to vote, or it may be more involved than that. You might want to volunteer on a campaign for a candidate who you really believe in. There are a lot of ways to get involved, and you should do everything you possibly can to make sure that you're one of those who is involved. Thank you so much for joining us here at the table. As always, if you want to weigh in, write to me at chrisbellquestions@gmail.com. And we'll see you back here next time.